Not only has he given you 20 trophies, he's actually given these fans, I keep saying there was about 300, 400 of them. He's given them, he's dedicated his life to them, really. He's put his family on a hold at many times. He's had to take abuse that nobody else really should be taking abuse, and threatened because he's a Celtic manager or Celtic player or the Celtic captain, whatever you go. And just when you need fans to look after your friends, because they say that he was the one and only Neil Lennon a couple of months ago, just when you need them, 300, 400 turn their back on you. And that's interesting because 60,000 people, and people who watch it, sing "You'll Never Walk Alone." And that's meant to be a Celtic family, you'll never walk alone. At this moment in time, there's a few hundred people making Neil Lennon feel like he is walking alone. But over the last couple of days, he's realised he's not walking alone. His friends gather together to make sure he understands that he's not walking alone. The Celtic fans who understand what's going on will make sure he knows that as well. But in today's modern society, that the minority can take over. So as long as Lenny knows that he's got great support for people, and he's getting great support from Dermot and Peter as well. But it doesn't take away from the fact when you're a manager in that position, you do feel alone. It doesn't matter how much your assistant manager, your coaches try and help you. There's moments when you and your family where you just feel alone. And sometimes it's not your family, because it's the fans that can make you feel a bit better.
You know, there's no excuse for the behaviour that we saw on Sunday, but Celtic aren't performing as a team. You know, things have gone really badly wrong. What do you think has happened here? And can Neil turn things around, Gordon?
I think it's never. I've seen managers turn it around from the depths. There's no doubt about that. So, but it's also to do with Neil Lennon and the players. You know, do they really know what's happening out there? Can they turn it around, some of the players? I don't know. I think there's a position now where I think there's certain players who have been working so hard for this club to get them to 9 in a row. It's a fantastic achievement to get 9 in a row. And some of them might be at the point where, it's getting hard for me to keep driving on. I need to influence other people to do something to help me. And I think it's more they ones than the ones that have been driving on for the last few years who have to say, am I going to help these people? Am I going to do something? Am I going to be stand-up coach? Am I going to be a big player? And that's what you want in the crisis. That's what you want in the crisis, because everybody's testing the crisis. We can all do quite well if we only play 2 games in the trot or 3 games here or there or come with a sub. It's when you're needed in a crisis. Your true self comes out in a crisis, and as a crisis at the moment, that's for sure. And then what's going to happen is we try and get back on. I was speaking to somebody the other day that what Celtic have to do is, somewhere along the line, Rangers, who are playing terrifically well at the moment, will have 2 draws or something like that. And Celtic have to be ready for that. And they have to be ready when they have the 2 draws for Celtic to win. And it's a different ball game. And if Celtic are maybe 3 points behind Rangers, maybe February, then it's a different ball game for everybody. Everybody's nerve is tested again. So that's what they have to do, is keep hanging there till this comes round. But they need a win and a performance as quickly as possible.
What would a win on Thursday do?
Well, for Neil Lennon, the skies would be blue no matter what colour it is when they arrive back. He could hear birds singing. He could listen to what his wife's saying, and maybe enjoy switching on the TV and radio again just for a second. But that, you know, that's finished now. And you probably think, well, if we get a good result, well, it's finished. But they need something that will make them go to the next game feeling good about themselves. There has to be something in that game on Thursday that's got to make them feel good about themselves for the next game. Whether it's scoring a couple of goals, whether it's getting a draw, or getting a fantastic win, or a performance that the manager go, yes, I like that. And something for the players to start believing themselves again. Because, you know, when you do lose confidence, which a lot of players have, it becomes hard to even run.
Well, you really are only as good as your last game, and a couple of wins.
Yeah.
This could all be water under the bridge. It could.
It could. But yeah, a night like Sunday night takes a long time to forget as a manager and a player. Trust me, it takes a long time to forget, and it doesn't go away in 1 or 2 weeks. It goes away with trophies. It goes away with the crowd being happy again. But I'm one of these people that I keep it in mind for a bit longer. Maybe that's, you know, that drives you on. It's very hard to forget, and it's not about just. I just think that it's not about that. We love Celtic. We're all involved with Celtic. If you've been there, you get this bug, and all the Celtic supporters I know, they'll take a while to forget that because they've been tainted by this moronic behaviour.
You have such a, you know, a real insight into this situation. I think you've made a great point about the mental health aspect of football, you know, and management.
The funny thing about, we all talk about mental health to everybody, but we feel a manager, because he earns money, is allowed to get abused inside the stadium, outside the stadium, and social media. Nobody ever comes on the side and says, well, wait a minute, this affects, and we've all heard stories of managers being affected. We talk about everybody else apart from the manager, who really goes through this, I don't know what you call it. And it's no clinical depression. It's a situational depression that you have to go through, and it's similar to clinical depression. But you know how to get out of it, because Lenny will feel better if he wins 2 games in the trot. I've stood beside managers, and I know fine well that families break up. They're alcoholics because they can only deal with it one way. There's some that take drugs to get through this.
Well, I mean, it's like an inhumane amount of pressure and abuse for a person to take, and we are just human beings at the end of the day, aren't we?
You say that you've got to protect yourself from all this as a manager. As I said, the only way I did it was having a complete lockdown on media in my house. People thought it was strange. People thought it was arrogant in Scottish football. Why is he not listening to us? He's an arrogant. I was only doing it to protect myself and my family and the players, because if I listened to all that, I'd be nuts.